everyone, welcome to the Zach Riggs YouTube channel. We've got quite an interesting project for you today. So we're up here at this industrial complex that's not too far from our shop, and we are going to replace this basin and install some yard drains. We got Aiden here to help us.
Hello.
And we're gonna see what kind of a mess we can get ourselves into today. So ultimately I got called for this job because this grassy area over here is super wet and they want to put in a patio and make it nice for employees to come out here and take a lunch break and that kind of thing when the weather's nice. So the white lines that are marked out around here show us where the patio is going to go, and we are going to install a French drain on every side of it, or at least 3 sides of it I should say, and maybe even kind of put a spur line out over there because this area just stays wet once it gets wet. Now that French drain system needs somewheres to go, so we're going to run it out over here under the sidewalk and run it to this catch basin over here. When I came out to look at this catch basin, I noticed some problems with it. I pulled the grate off here just to get a look-see, and I noticed that there's part of the entire basin is missing down there. If I put you down here, you can probably see whole corner and top over that pipe is missing, and there's no sealing concrete around that pipe. And when I stuck my head down in the basin, I noticed that it's super void all the way up underneath of this sidewalk here. Got to looking a little closer, I noticed the sidewalk is settled really bad. You can see it, that score cut, and then it's broken up here. And so this entire sidewalk is just floating on air, kind of jammed in there, and is a little bit of a hazard to anybody that wants to walk over it, because someday it's going to give up, and it's probably going to do that when there's weight on it. There's not enough light to show you with the camera, but I could actually see daylight coming down between those stones all the way under the sidewalk there when I poked my head down in there. So that means we got to replace this basin too. So I brought a basin with us. We're going to tear up all this curb and a couple squares of concrete. We're going to replace this basin, and then we're going to put in our pipe. I don't have a great plan for this part of the job. We're gonna just have to get started and see how it goes and work at it slowly but surely. We've got to maintain these 3 pipes that are in this basin here, and we got to make sure those all go into the new basin. The only thing left to do is just get started. So that's what we're gonna do. The first thing I want to do here is make sure that this is cut free from the rest, that way we don't accidentally disturb some of the other things. The score mark is broken, but if there's some wire or something in there, I just want to make sure it's completely severed. So the best way to do that is to run the saw through it. I do love this Milwaukee water tank. It is so handy. It turns on and off automatically with that big saw that Milwaukee makes, and then also just things like this. And you can do all this with an air tank, a pressure tank too, but this thing keeps constant pressure, and it makes it really easy to use just the right amount of water for saw cuts, which makes all the difference. The water lasts longer, less mess, all that kind of stuff. All right, the first thing we got to do here is pull some of the sidewalk up. This is going to be the easiest way to make a relief area for us to kind of pull and pry the other sidewalk and the parking lot and all the concrete around the basin. Concrete demolition is all about creating a relief point, somewhere for the material to go when you pull on it. And so the sidewalk is the best place to start. There we go. Oh yeah, look at how that's washed out. That's not good. That's very bad. Take a look at the void under here. Look at that. Look, you can see all the way down into the basin. And it's void all the way up underneath that slab. Concrete is strong and obviously was bridging that gap, but at least eventually this would have settled and been a steep slope, which would have been not ADA compliant, which is important for commercial properties. Can't have any too steep of slopes on them for wheelchairs and that kind of thing. And then also it becomes a hazard in the winter when things are slippery. I'm glad they're getting this done. Try to set this in here nice and gentle. We don't beat up the truck too bad. It's not a real heavy duty bed. Gotta be kind to it. Now, since this is void under here, I'm going to try smacking with a hammer and see if we can get it to collapse. It might be more work than it's worth, but it just didn't want to come up out of there easy, and so I think this might help. Well, that got the blood flowing. I don't think I made any real progress. You can see all my hammer blows all the way across there. If it didn't start to go in that amount of effort, it ain't going to, and the amount of effort I want to put into it. Alright, I turned the bucket around. We'll see if we can try pulling up on it and see what happens. See, we want to kind of use the bucket as a big pry bar. A little bit easier on the machine, gives me a little more control. Of course, our fulcrum is just a bunch of mud, so that ain't working well. Oh, there it goes. I think I might be out of stroke there on the bucket cylinder. Let me back up in a better position and try again. There we go, there we go. Oh, that's a fun surprise. Well, looky there, our sledgehammer did us some good, but looky here, I see a pipe. I don't think we broke it, but it was definitely embedded in the concrete. See if we can go ahead and fish this thing out of here. It's still wedged between the parking lot and there we go. That's helpful. Just gotta make sure I bring it. Oh, I can't drop it. Gotta bring it this way. Maybe I can set it down gentle, maybe. Ah, now it's wedging. I just don't want to damage that other sidewalk piece that we're trying to keep, so this is a little bit tricky. And I got that conduit I'm also trying not to tear up. Okay, I think I can set it down like that. I think that'll work. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's flip our bucket around and get this out of here. Ooh, that was hard on that conduit. Hard on things. I didn't mean to do that. It just kind of happened. Alright, now we can start picking away at our parking lot. I think that conduit's still intact.
Nope.
Well, that piece is too big. I can't lift it and get it all the way up in there. So we're either gonna have to break some of it off, or maybe use the skid steer to put it up in there. Normally I would just drop this piece and other pieces to break it, but I don't have any other pieces to drop it on. There, very nice. Look at this thing. There's nothing left to this basin. That's wild. Look at tree root from probably that tree. Oh, there's a toad. Hey, buddy, come back. Let me save you. You're not going to make it on your own here. Where are you at? There you are. Hey, come here. Come here. There we go. Let's take you over here. You're going to have to find your own water, I think, but we'll at least get you out of the danger zone. There. use this frame. I'm gonna try and save it. Alright, last thing we gotta do is get this basin out of here, and we gotta be very careful because we cannot afford to break any of those pipes down in there, so we can't just go ripping and tearing on this thing. We kinda need to break it up as we go. Sometimes you just gotta get out and take a look before you go crazy on something. Unzipping concrete, didn't know you could do that. Hey, there's a big piece, that's nice. Alrighty folks, we did a bunch of nibbling around and we got the sides all out. It wasn't anything exciting, and now I think we're ready to pull the bottom out. I'm gonna try and slide it out from under these pipes here. There it is. It's going. Oh, yeah! That's awesome. I was really worried about that because this thing is full of rebar, and being able to break it was going to be very difficult if that's what we had to do. But we got out of here. One piece. There is our trophy. Last piece of concrete on this job. Okay, we got everything all cleaned out. Got some dirt dug out by hand from under the pipes. The next thing we need to do is make a nice level stone pad in there. The water is down there because the groundwater here is just high. We could pump that, but it would never end. It would just keep coming. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the stone in there, level it out, and if the water ends up higher than the stone, we might have to do something about it. I don't know, I'm hoping we don't. We'll have to put the stone in there and see. All right, just gonna push this around. So it's just about the same level as the water. It could be an excellent visual representation of where level is for us, which is really handy. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit more stone because we definitely need it, and then we'll get this all leveled up, be ready for the next step. Now that our stone's all graded out nice, we're gonna plop our basin in the hole. All right, as you can see, I got them doghouse shapes cut out to fit down over these pipes. And I measured them the best I could, but to be honest, I was having a bad measuring day, and so it's going to be a mystery until we see if these things fit or not. Go down nice and gentle.
Your clear green, clear cement.
Awesome. Looky there, folks. That's pretty good fitment, I'd say, for a lot of cutting off-site and then dropping it down in the hole. It looks like the whole thing could probably go this way a little bit just to even up our gaps and that kind of thing, but not too bad overall. Not too bad. Now we got the basin set, we need to cut a couple extra holes in it to run this old parking lot drain into, and also the new drains that we're gonna install. Ooh, buddy. Nice. That's one down, one more to go. That's enough of that for one day. Well, we got all of our digging done. Everything went pretty smooth. We had to go around these conduits down here, but we didn't tear them up, so that's all good. We're gonna be able to sneak the pipe right under them. It goes on over there and goes over to the basin. Got Aiden laying out some fabric so we can measure it. We'll get that cut to length and we'll lay it in here and line these trenches. And that'll be time for pipe. All the fabric's in. It's time to start throwing pipe in the trench. Now for French drains, I really like to use this product. This is like your standard N12 big culvert pipe type construction. It's double wall. It's not single wall. It's not the stuff that comes in a coil. That stuff is garbage. This stuff has 2 walls and it's a lot stronger and it comes in big sticks. It's not perfectly rigid, but it's much more rigid so I can't put in a coil. It's got a bunch of little slits on all sides. I like it better than PVC because it's got actually a better crush rating than PVC when buried appropriately, and it's got those holes on all sides everywhere, and the holes are really small. Instead of like the holes in PVC are a lot bigger and they're only on 2 sides, or there's 2 rows of holes, I guess. Get this down on our fabric here. There's some abandoned irrigation lines up there that we cut through when we were digging. Got to get the pipe settled down between them now. All right, let's see if we can get that tucked in there real nice. These fittings just snap on the end. They're what we call soil tight, not watertight, because the pipe is full of holes. There's no value in it being watertight. They just got to be tight enough fit to not let soil leach into the pipe. I'm gonna stick it in this end first here. Oops, sorry. I need another click. There should be 2 clicks. There we go. That's in. Thank you. Put the short piece on first. Perfect. All right, let's measure for this leg. There we go, very good. All right, just enough. I'll go ahead and work this in here and we'll cut it, cap it, and we'll be done with pipe. Time to put some stone in the trench now. Probably could do it faster with the skid steer, but with the stone pile being right in reach here, I can do less damage to the lawn and everything if I just dip it in there a little bit at a time with the excavator. Got the bucket on backwards here, make things a little bit easier up close to the building. All of our stone is in and we're ready to fold the fabric over and cover with topsoil, but we're gonna switch gears here. I don't have the topsoil here yet, and so what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna go about getting our basin finished up now. We got to cut this riser and make it just the right distance to make this basin just a smidge lower than this parking lot. So that way when they re-pour the concrete for the parking lot, there's just this gentle slope down to the basin. So we got to get all those numbers figured out just right. Aiden's setting the laser up. I'm going to take some measurements and do some math. We also need to account for the dimensions of our grate and frame over here, so we'll measure that up, work it all into the math, and then we'll make some cuts. And there we go. We should have separation, but we don't. Still missed a little bit. All right, let's see if we can kind of score our... Oh, there we are. Just need a little bit of love. Thump. And we'll set this one down nice and gentle. Very nice. Oh, slippery. I cut the lifting cables off of this thing when I cut it in half. And so now we're gonna just try and scooch it into the bucket so we can scooch it onto the basin. You want to give that a pull so you can slide it. Yeah. It's not sliding. We went about this in the wrong way. All right, let's see if we can scoop this. Okay, let's try to scoot each corner in a little bit. Perfect, I can make that work. I'm just gonna have to lay this down here nice and gentle and we'll scoot it into position. Perfect. Man, I'm just so scared of my fingers.
Yeah. All right, or at least all
there we
now.
go. Hold on. Alrighty. Perfect. That will work great. Now we can put this grate frame on here. Now this is just going to sit on here, and when they pour the new parking lot concrete, it'll go over this flange and lock this frame in, and it'll hold things in, which is perfect because the concrete crew can adjust it if they need to fit next to the curb that they're going to pour, or anything like that. We'll get it centered up on the basin as best we can, and they can go from there. Ha! That's great. That was so bad. Now before we call that complete, I want to verify with the laser and just make sure we got it exactly where we want and all of our measurements checked out. Okay, we're still set up for over here. The laser says we are 0.12 feet lower here than we are over there. Let's do some real quick math. That's 1.44 inches lower. We were aiming for 1.5 inches. I'd say 6/100ths of an inch is pretty close. I really am happy with that. That's awesome. Love it when a plan comes together. We threw some stone in here so that way the concrete guys just have to do a little bit of touching up and then they can pour concrete. We're nearing the end of our project now. We need to fold this fabric in, throw some topsoil on it, grass seed, and straw. I went and picked up some dry topsoil here, but as you can see, the sky behind the truck is looking pretty gnarly. We better get done here pretty quick. I don't want to get rained on. It's a real bummer to pay for dry topsoil just for it to get wet. made it. The rain is coming down, but we got all the topsoil placed. It got dark enough that the light came on, the security light. Although I guess that one didn't, so I don't know what that's about. But yeah, we're gonna wait till this rain stops. It shouldn't take too long. Then we'll throw some seed and straw down. Well, we ran and got some ice cream therapy to deal with our rainy day blues. The Dairy Queen was like 5 minutes away. Before we got there, gobbled the ice cream down and got back, the sun's out again. So I'm definitely not complaining about that, but it's just an example of the wild weather we have here sometimes. Well, that's about it, folks. This job is complete. I actually ended up going over budget a lot on this job. It was supposed to be a 2-day job, and this is our 3rd day here, which is kind of a bummer. It killed pretty much my profits for majority of the week this week, but it is what it is. It's part of owning a business and part of learning and getting better at things and all that. What I didn't gain in profit margin, I did gain in experience, so it wasn't a total loss. It does look like we got more rain rolling in again, so we're gonna get everything loaded up and packed up here, and hopefully we get everything on a trailer and everything before the rain comes. Then we're getting out of here. Well, folks, we didn't make it. Got everything loaded up, but only while getting drenched. The rain came and rained on us really hard right at the wrong time, as it always does, but everything's loaded up, we're ready to go home. The hard rain came down and it made our drains work, which is nice to know. You can see that pipe pouring water in pretty fast. That one's trickling in, but everything down there is working really good. Just the way it's supposed to. I hope you have a good rest of your day. If you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button and leave me a comment. I always like to hear from you guys, and it helps the channel. And when the channel does well, it helps me make videos like this for you guys. I love you guys. We'll see you next time.